Hello, 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 hello. Coming with another Black History slash. Let's see what's going on with our black men segment. Uh, we've been hearing a lot in the news about the black men that are supporting the ex president, disgraced, two times indicted, 91 counts over four. Oh, Lord. Okay, a mess. Trump. Um, and we're scratching our heads like, why? Okay, so it's a lot of Black history involved in that, and we're going to go through some of it. Now, uh, first we're going to hear a little bit of what some black men is saying why, and I'm gonna talk a little bit because I tried to listen to it on my own, but I just couldn't do it. So I'm gonna listen to it with you guys, because it is hard.
There's some people in your orbit who are either voting for Donald Trump or considering it. For sure, a lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, for a president, and Trump is kind of all we know. And they're
Now, when I heard him say Trump is all they know, I'm like, uh, did they go to school? They didn't hear about other presidents? They didn't hear about Barack Obama? Lincoln? What do he mean Trump is the only president they know about? He's only voted once. Uh, I'm sure you had history class. I'm sure you know the history of presidents. Okay, so okay, this is coming from Killer Mike, and the other black men are rejecting Biden and the Democrats. And his video channel is the Biblical Conservative. Okay. Now, I want you to keep in mind, as we talk about this and as we hear this, remember, remember this. This is some past history of us black folks. Free blacks owned slaves. Okay? Free blacks owned property. One of the reasons they were able to continue to vote in colonial South Carolina, where voting began to be limited to those who were owners of property. Some free blacks also owned slaves, an essential possession in an agricultural society rapidly becoming dependent on slavery to supply its spiraling labor needs. Black ownership of slaves might have had an additional motive. Many free blacks purchased slaves, sometimes family members, in order to protect them. So that's we have to keep that in mind. Yeah, some of them did the right thing, just like some white folks did the right thing. But it's that, as you will hear them say, it's all about the money. And I say that because you will be looking at your modern day black slaveholders.
And Trump and Biden, they're like, well, we were broke with Biden, we weren't with Trump, and that's kind of the only thing that I'm hearing over and over again, over and over.
They were broke with Biden, and rich with Trump. See, a lot of them are still thinking about that stimulus check that they got through COVID. Yeah, a lot of people had money. And these people, all they seem to care about is themselves. And which, I mean, I'm not saying anything wrong with that, but that is never ever going to help us as a people.
Again, is that when Trump, we had money.
For those of you that have been paying attention, there is a crumbling of the black male support in particular and in the black community at large for Joe Biden. Take a listen to these brothers in the barbershop in South Carolina where Joe Biden spent a lot of time campaigning.
Where black men stand, because on paper, former president...
So that I can build generational wealth, so my kids can see and have something to take the pride with. I'm not here. A lot of people admire the persona, and they want to be like him. You know, they want to enjoy the perks that he has.
They want to be like Trump. There's no rich black people. There's no black rich people that is kind, loving, and supportive of black people. They don't want to be like them. They want to be like a rich, bankrupt their businesses 4 times, cheated on their wives, had a racial case against them. They want to be like him. Okay, so remember, some blacks had slaves. Some even family members to help them out. Okay? Which is cool. So how was they able to get to the point where they could buy slaves? You talking about you had black slaves and you had black people able to buy black slaves.
Seems to always be able to circumvent the rules.
I think there's a lot of, generationally speaking, I think there's probably some familiarity with what he used to be.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know why people are riding for Trump like that. You're hearing that too, that there's some people in your orbit who are either voting for Donald Trump or considering it? For sure. A lot of my friends are obviously my age, so we're a little younger. We've only voted once, you know, for a president. And Trump is kind of all we know. And they're kind of Trump and Biden. They're like, well, we were...
Oh, it's hard. It's difficult to listen to. We are doing an awful job on raising our black sons. Because I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and there's no way in the world you would have ever heard a black man supporting a white racist for president. It would have been unheard of. But see, what happened is, we has came a long way. We riding cute. We living in mansions. We going on luxury vacations. We owning businesses. Just your regular businesses, nothing downtown businesses. And now, and we don't have any black leaders. And most of these men are coming from homes that they were raised in, growing up listening to gangster rap. and dysfunctional homes, projects, and they begin to get a little money, and they done lost their mind. They don't know who they is anymore. You know, and I want to know, why are these gangster rappers like 50 Cent, Snoop, Mike Tyson, Dennis Rodman, all these, why are they supporting a mad, sadistic European man that has been known to be racist and everything else that's disgraceful? Now he's a criminal. And that's who they like. Because they had money? Who? Where's this money coming from? They spending all this money they make and giving it right back to the white man. And they call themselves getting ahead. No, you ain't, because your money's going right back to the white man. As soon as you get some money, as soon as you get a big paycheck, what are you doing? Going to buy a big Cadillac from the white man, going to buy a big house from the white man, going to buy all this nice jewelry from the white man. You know, and I don't know these men personally and don't want to. But generally, I know that our black men back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and the 90s actually would have never came out. It was a few, would come out and support a racist white man like that and the GOP. Because in the 1960s, the black people really fled the Republican Party. And this came out July the 14th, 2014, on the NPR. Why did black voters flee the Republican Party in the 1960s? If you walked into a gathering of older black folks 100 years ago, you have found that most of them would have been Republicans. Yeah, Republicans. The party of Lincoln. The party of emancipation. Party that pushed not only black votes, but black politicians during the post-bellum period during Reconstruction. Today, it is almost the exact opposite. That migration of black voters away from the GOP reached its last phase 50 years ago. Now, why? It all started, you know, back with the big deal that the Democrats came out with during World War II, where they was giving all this money out and stuff, and the black people was like, okay, we want some of this money, so they started voting Democrat to get that, because they were saying that here's a party, here's some people that want to start helping us get better, do better, have more, be able to do more for our children, have nice homes and all this stuff. So they started doing the Democrat thing. And now that they have gotten all this good stuff, now they want to start going back to the Republicans. So, let me see. The data suggests that even as late as 1960, only about 2/3 of African Americans were identified with the Democratic Party. Now, 2/3 is a pretty big number. But when you compare today, that number hovers over 90%. So what happened? Well, according to Hutchins and the Tufts University, Barry Goldwater for Republicans became a metaphor for the Republican response for this revolution that's happening in the United States. The revolution was Freedom Summer, the period 50 years ago when hundreds of college students, most of them white, had journeyed to Mississippi to help black Mississippians become registered voters. The state's response to that integrated movement had swift and violent. Less than a month before the GOP met for the National Convention, organizer Goodman, Cheney, and Schweitzer had been kidnapped on a dark road and were never seen alive again. So, many white Southerners, especially segregationists, felt assured by Goldwater's words that black Americans felt anything but African Americans heard the message that was intended to be heard. And that was civil rights. It was a signal that both sides heard loud and clear that so they'd seen the shift, and some left and some did stay. Some wanted to stay true to their Republican Party, but it changed, and it started in the South, and it's still mostly in the South that you have a lot of these black men, you have women too, that are still dealing with the GOP. And see, the problem is the GOP is more in tune with business. They believe that the businesses is what is keeping the country going. Not the people that's working for the businesses. And as you heard these black men say, they had money when Trump was in office. I don't know where this money they did, and I know a few business people, and I never heard them say they had more money when Trump was in office. But they fail to realize if Trump gets back in office, the people that is supporting their businesses are not going to have any money. And the world's going to be in chaos. The country's going to be in so much chaos that people are not going to be spending this money. You know what they're going to be doing? They're going to be so depressed. They're just going to be drinking and stuff. Like they did when the COVID came. And they said the wine and liquor purchases went way, way up. So, and like I was saying, that was Franklin Roosevelt, and his second administration, led by the New Deal, made the Democrats a beacon for black Americans deeply affected by the crushing poverty that was plaguing the country. So it was a lot of reasons why we left the Republican Party. And most of the black men that started in Congress back in the 1800s were black Republicans. Because it was the Republicans that led the, Proclamation of Emancipation and all that. So it was real. It's most black men, you realize that support people like that really hate themselves being black, really hate blackness. And most of these people, you listen to their music, listen to the words that come out their mouth. They hate black people and they hate black women. All they want is big money to make, have big clothes, big fancy clothes and big fancy cars. Because, you go, some of them, have 1,000 pair of tennis shoes in the closet. And a lot of them hate their mothers. And the ones that, this one man that said he wants generational wealth. You want a man that's going to make it bad for all people, especially black people, and you don't think your children are going to be affected? You are giving rise, he are giving the race white supremacists the okay to go out there and wreak havoc on the black community, and you don't think your children are going to be affected. Okay. Let's hear some more.
Broke with Biden. We weren't with Trump. And that's kind of the only thing that I'm hearing over and over again, is that with Trump, we had money. Well, okay, I hear you guys, but personally, morally, I couldn't see myself.
Katie, I found a lot of the black male voters that I've talked with basically in three different buckets. Those who are planning on voting for Joe Biden again, even though they're not excited. Those who are considering voting for Donald Trump. And those who will sit out altogether and take some sort of off-ramp out of the process. And I think that latter group will be interesting to see how that plays out tomorrow during the primary, but also in the general election.
When you listen to them talk, you hear, for example, that one brother who talked about he wanted to establish generational wealth when it comes to his children, how he thinks that Trump will give him a better opportunity because Trump is a businessman, whereas Joe Biden is not a businessman. Joe Biden is a politician. He's been a career politician.
Okay, he keep leaving out the point that he bankrupt his businesses over 4 times, and he's on trial for fraud, and he's been convicted of sexual assault. They leaving that out like that don't matter. Okay? Now, I can't understand how in the world you could be convicted of fraud and get a job over all the country's money. Well, you can't even get a job in a bank if you got a fraud on your record. They don't even want you working in stores if you got a fraud on your record. So what is the real reason why these black men want to support this man? They talk about because Biden is a established politician. So, but Trump is a businessman. How is a businessman going to run a country? It's not all about business. You want some. You are willing to let somebody to be on the national stage with all these crimes and immorality and fraud representing you. The government is ran by politicians. The government is politics. And would you want somebody, a dentist, doing knee surgery on you? I mean, that's what I'm saying. We are doing an awful job raising our sons, and the schools is doing a terrible job teaching these kids about life, about how the world runs, how the government runs, how you...
Politician. He doesn't know the desires of small businesses. He doesn't know the challenges that small...
Now, that's a lie. I know it's a lie. Because I know a lot of people that have small businesses. The man, and all they cared about is Trump making their business Zoom. Well, it's going to be hard to Zoom if your business is shut down because he's doing something stupid like calling martial law or letting another virus come in and wreak havoc, and you have to close your store, your business. You want somebody in office that thinks about what's best for the country, so the country can run smoothly. When Trump was in office, the country was not running smoothly. It was chaotic. People were being killed because of the color of their skin like crazy, or their nationality. Now they call them for race riots, civil war. Now he talking about he want to go be a dictator for one day. He say all it takes is one day. All it takes is one time to bring a lifelong destruction. And this is who they want.
Businesses face. He doesn't know the angst that some small business people have, especially in this economy, in the Biden economy. He doesn't understand the impacts of inflation on small families. He doesn't understand the impacts of crime
and Trump do
on these families. He doesn't understand
and
the
Trump
impact
do
of fathers not being at home on the black family. Joe Biden doesn't understand that. Joe Biden.
Okay, that's enough of his ignorant ass. That's enough of his ignorant ass. Because they stupid.
If you go back to 2015, which was a different time.
Because you have to be a fool to think that these rich people know any of that. That is not their job to know that. Because how you going to know something that you've never experienced? Most of these people, a lot of these people, they didn't go through none of that. So for you to sit up there and say that he don't know about that, we don't expect him to know about that. We don't expect Trump to know about that. If you're a fool if you think Trump cares about you. You don't even care about yourself. Because like I always say, our kids is watching us. And our black sons are watching these black men support a racist, sadistic 2 times indicted criminal to be president. What is that showing now? That you don't have to grow up to be morally fit. You don't have to have good sense or love for your people. You just have to grow up and be rich. Okay. You know, I mean, really, it's just ridiculous. You know, and don't forget, blacks sold their countrymen to the white man to be slaves. You had black people out here that were slaves. You had the black men that told on the black people that tried to get away. So we're going to have to live with this. This is something that we're going to have to deal with, because you have a lot of people out here. Even the whites, they sabotage their white people. That's just the way we are. We have no loyalty to our own or to what's good, because if you're going to sit up and I don't know, a lot of white people, you know, you just like you have that Haley woman out here talking about Obama was the one that's divided America. Okay. See, you have people out here that they say what they want to say, but that don't make it so. What we have to do is we have to stick together. We have to be having unity. We have to be we have to teach our kids to be loyal to their people and to fight our common enemy. We have to do that first, because all the money in the world, it's not helping us. Because we still are being treated like dirt as a whole. I don't care how much money you got. You still is a boy to those Europeans. You still ain't nothing. And you ain't going to be nothing to your people because you are standing up for a racist. And won't have the nerve to say that. Obama, only thing Obama did was let us know you could be the president and still don't be shit to these people. We need to be having unity, trying to get reparations, trying to get businesses downtown in the high rise, not these little old bitty itty bitty selling toilet paper, toothpaste businesses. And what makes it so bad is we selling these clothes that were made in China. Okay. You let me see. I'm gonna cut. Wait a minute. I bought a shirt. It's a business, a black business. Oh. Let me see. You don't have no tag where it was made? Huh. I didn't notice. I just noticed that. It's not even a tag where it was made. Okay. So we have to be businesses, suppliers, and the main thing is we have to control our neighborhoods, our businesses, our money. We have to start being global, international. It's only a small percentage of businesses are made with Africans. You know, we need to do better. We need to do better. And also, have anybody ever heard of, I can't find it. A city, the Soul City in North Carolina. I thought that was pretty interesting. I'd never heard of it either, and I just came across it. Soul City in North Carolina. And it started in 1969. And it was funded by the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development. The Soul City was one of 13 model city projects under the Urban Growth and New Community Development Act. It was located on 5,000 acres in Warren County near Mason Road and Soul City Boulevard in New Orleans. Soul City, by 1974, pioneering families moved to Soul City, and steady progress was apparent in the laying of water, sewer lines, construction of roads, and they were supposed to just build their own. Let me see. Soul City has not reached its ambitious McKissick planned for. However, there are still some positive outcomes from the project. Soul City brought the first health care facility to the residents of Warren County, 3 county water system, and a sewage disposal system. There was significant out-migration of African Americans from the South to northern cities. However, Soul City was created, more African Americans moved to North Carolina than out of the 1970s. I thought that was pretty interesting. Like I always say, we should have migrated to, maybe about 4 or 5 states and grow as a people. Get to know one another. Get to support one another, and healed ourselves from this devastating disaster that we went through when our forefathers and mothers were stolen and brought to this country. We never really healed from that. And if our moms and grandmothers and great-grandmas had that opportunity to heal and support one another and love one another, we would be a better people. We will still not be going through this, what we're going through. And it's a lot. Look where we at now. The devastation that our communities is dealing with. You have to remember, it's a lot of pain and suffering that's going out here in our community. We have people out here that have lost kids, babies, and and the crime is getting outrageous, and we doing it to each other. Drug abuse, alcoholics, and the domestic violence has gotten to the point where it's just unimaginably terrible. And our kids are being taken by children's services and left to just rot. Be raised by people they don't know. Oh. And you have to ask yourself, why we haven't had a black leader since Martin Luther King Jr. The sex states. All we got are these black politicians that's just out there that's trying to run the country, not help the black people. And we need help. Thank you for listening.